everybody, Cage here. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I became a prepper. Well, in the 1990s, there was some things going on in my life. Some of them were good and some of them maybe not so good. And I had choices I had to make and I had to decide what I was going to do with the rest of my life. And so even though I, had a few good things on the go, I decided, well, Dad served in the military and I've had a taste of it and I better go do it full time. So I decided, well, I'm going to join the Navy. I'm going to do something different. I'm going to see the world. I'm going to get a trade that I'm really interested in doing. And, well, yeah, as usual, life happened. And I ended up not having a Navy career. So things had to change, and I ended up getting put into intelligence, unofficially. And, well, it was right at the time when Y2K was happening, and all the old computers in the military were getting changed out because the world's going to end. Civilization is going to completely fail. It's going to be utter chaos. And it's all because the dates won't switch over at midnight and the old computers can't handle it and the power grid's going to go down. So the military, along with everybody else, went out and got all brand new computers because nobody wants to return to the times when we didn't have these things, Nobody wants to have to be running horses again instead of horsepower. That kind. And when you're working in military intelligence, you learn a lot of things that don't get out into the broad spectrum of the world. And the internet wasn't as big then as it was now. Well, you start finding out things. You start finding out what the plans are. You're in the know, you're in the rooms, you're watching what's going on, and you're finding out. And the big concern is not what foreign governments are going to be doing, but what the population is going to be doing. And you start to find out that there's a lot of intelligence out there on what people are doing, what they have, what they're planning to do, what the organizations are, who's where, things that you never expected you'd ever know about or hear about, and all of a sudden they're out there, and you're finding out that a lot of these people, whether they be ex-military or whatever, they're planning, they're getting supplies, they're building things up, they're getting ready for total anarchy and breakdown, they're getting generators, etc. And then you find out, well, the military's all generated up. And the military has all kinds of supplies, and you expect that. And not only do you expect it, you want it that way, you're happy that it is that way. But they're concerned about the population, they're concerned about anarchy. Everybody's got water. Everybody that's planning has water. Well, that's good. Water is something you need. I started thinking, wow, hey, hang on a minute. I remember the Quebec ice storms back in 1998 when I was there, talking to people that had been through the 1988 solar flare situation. And so when 98 came along, they were a little more ready. They had supplies. They had food and water and chainsaws and generators, and they were ready to go. And a lot of people weren't ready, but a lot of people were. And it dawned on me, well, this is really smart. These people were ready. They had been through something, and they planned for it. They understood what they needed, and there were still people that hadn't learned from the lessons. Wow. So that really struck me. So Y2K went by with nothing happening. I got to watch nothing. A few months later, I was at another base doing something else, and along came the Kosovo War and refugees being brought to Canada. And I was put in the position of working daily with the Red Cross and immigration and the Kosovo refugees. And I started hearing all their stories. And lo and behold, the people in the cities were the ones that were attacked the most. The people up in the mountains and the countries went through it, but they were ready for this a little bit more than the people in the cities were. So a good portion of the people went back to Kosovo to try and start a new life. When they got there, things did not make the news again. The world was not finding out what was really going on and how hard it was for these people. And the world was being told that major hostilities had ended, and that just absolutely was not the case. And there was dog packs running around killing people and taking out animals and surviving livestock. There was construction problems and contract issues and theft and just all kinds of bad things going on, so the military had to go in and handle the problems. And So because of all this, I ended up doing some other things with my career and another path. And then September 11th happened. Wow. So now this changed everything. This changed the way that the military was building up. And I started to wake up right then. I started to realize, well, hang on a second, those buildings shouldn't have fallen like that. This is not right. And then I started hearing other things. Well, that's not right. This planning isn't right. I don't like this. I don't like the sound of that. And then all of a sudden, the way people were being trained to go over there changed. And you started hearing these things. And then I got released. In the middle of the training, in the middle of this crazy training, which, by the way, there was no more smiles and fun in training for the next few months. It was serious business. There was a lot of us getting ready to go do things, and yep, I'm out of the military. And then, well, I started losing friends in Afghanistan. Guys started to get killed. And I just shut everything off. And I started a new life, and I started Cageco, my landscaping company, and I dug right into it, and I worked really, really hard. And when I say I shut things off, I absolutely did. I wanted nothing to do with guns, or shooting guns, or hearing about guns, or anything to do with the military. It just completely wiped me right out. So I was living on Vancouver Island, enjoying my life, and then we had a family emergency, and there was a ferry strike on, and I couldn't get off the island. The only way off the island was a way I could not afford. Charter flights, very, very expensive, couldn't do it. And this made me very, very angry, and I decided that was it, and I sold Cageco. I took my equipment, and I moved to Kelowna. That was it. I got out of there. I started a new life in Kelowna, and, you know, things went pretty good. But then I had to break up with the lady that I was with, that I had moved there with, and that changed things again totally. And I had another medical situation happen, and things changed again. And I started meeting people. I started talking to people about the Kelowna fires in 2003 and what they'd been through, and I realized, well, that's an SHTF for these people, And something else happened in my life, and then I started going to the mountains, and I found a very beautiful place called Pennask Mountain, and beautiful streams and rivers and fishing and hiking and camping, and I started spending a lot of time there and recovering myself. And I was, doing my hiking and everything, and it started reminding me of my days in the military. And then things changed with my attitude towards guns, and I decided, well, there's something missing in my life, and it's shooting, because I've been doing my whole life. And I was up there in the winter time, hiking and having a good time in winter camping. And I got myself into trouble, and I'd gone too far, and I realized, hey, you are not ready. What if something was to happen? What if something was to happen? What would you do? And it was literally at this point where I woke up. And I honestly let things go too far. I let my imagination take control. I started remembering all these things I'd seen in these places I'd been while I was in the military, and the nightmares that I was still having, stuff that was going on, and it really took over. It really did control my life for a few years, and I went really far. And so I wanted to just build a little cabin in the mountains and be a lone wolf. You know what? Hey, I've got my training. I was getting guns, I was getting gear, I was getting things ready, and I thought, nope, I'm going to go this alone. I'm going to be okay. And I started collecting things and getting things ready and finding stuff, and I started hunting again and getting that part of my life back, and all these things were well and good, and a lot of them worked out. And that's when I got into my first Jeep Cherokee and started building up. And then I got a job in a gun store, and I started meeting other preppers, and I kept my mouth shut because, again, I want my little cabin by myself in the woods, somewhere hidden away, do my own thing, because I was thinking, well, I've got my training and I'll be okay. I don't need any help, right? You know what? So like I said, let's just gear up, get ready. This is what was going through my mind. I started building a bug out bag, and I started building up my medical gear because of my medic training from the military, and I started getting firearms, And I started doing all these things, and then boom, August 2010. When they say burn to the ground, they're not kidding. 4 years of preps and everything else I'd earned in my life, I'd gained, gone. So yes, once again, I'm starting over from scratch, and this is my life. I'm in a shambles, and my head was too. And it took me a long time. It took me several months to, okay, what do I got to do? Well, you got to be a little beaver. You got to start over, because this isn't working. This train wreck that you're in is not working, okay? And guess what? You can't do it alone. This proved it. I was injured from the fire, and I was injured mentally and physically, and there's no way I can do this. So, well, what do? Well, I got it again. It rolled over too quick. Too much went by. I was trying too hard. I was doing too many things. I couldn't concentrate, so I had to completely stop myself, absolutely, and say, okay, start with the basics. And that's what I did. I started from scratch, started with the basics, and then I started trying to meet people and find a group, and that's what I've been doing. And I've been through a few groups, sure, that happens, but there's teamwork, there's things going on. I'm learning, I'm getting better, and I am where I am right now, and I feel good, and I'm getting ready to move on, and that's my life. So once again, a new and pretty exciting chapter has begun in my life. And so now I'm part of Prepper Madness, and we're doing our thing, and we're making these videos, and working on our self-sufficiency, and doing things together. And I'm enjoying myself, and I'm feeling better about the way things are going. There's still things to, fix. Life goes on, you have responsibilities, but you do what you can. You can't pressure yourself too much and get all stressed out over things you have very little control over. You have to take things one day at a time, one project at a time, one situation at a time. Just like it will be in the future if we have an SHTF, which we're preparing for, but hopefully we won't have to worry about that. Hopefully we can enjoy these projects and the things we're doing, and bring some of them to you, and yeah, that kind of thing. So once again, Cage for Prepper Madness. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe. See you later.